Right now, your baby's brain can hear every sound in every language on Earth. The clicks of Zulu, the rolled R's of Spanish, the tonal shifts of Mandarin. Sounds you and I can't even register anymore, no matter how hard we try. Here's the part almost no parent knows. By their first birthday, most of that ability will be gone. Not weakened, gone. Their brain will have quietly deleted the sounds it decided they don't need. This isn't a metaphor, and it isn't a guess. It's one of the most well-documented findings in developmental science, backed by decades of research out of labs in Washington, British Columbia, and Tokyo. And it's happening inside your baby's head today, right now, whether you're doing anything about it or not. Coming up, the exact experiment that proved this, why the brain does it on purpose, and the one thing you can do in this window that will still matter 20 years from now. When your baby was born, their brain wasn't wired for English, or Spanish, or whatever language fills your home. It was wired for all of them at once. Every language on the planet draws from the same shared pool of raw sounds. Researchers estimate there are roughly 600 distinct consonant sounds and 200 vowel sounds across every language ever studied. No single language uses more than a small slice of them. English gets by on around 40. But at birth, your baby's brain can tell the difference between almost all of them. That includes contrasts that are close to impossible for most adults to hear. Japanese doesn't separate R and L the way English does, which is why adult Japanese speakers famously struggle with that distinction, even after years of English lessons. A 4-month-old Japanese baby doesn't struggle with it at all. Neither would your baby, or any baby anywhere on Earth, regardless of what their parents speak at home. For those first several months, your baby's brain treats every sound in every language as equally worth paying attention to. Researchers call this universal listening, and it's temporary by design. In 1984, two researchers named Janet Werker and Werker Tees ran a study that's still cited in developmental psychology textbooks today. They played English-learning babies two sound contrasts that don't exist anywhere in English. One came from Hindi, a subtle difference between two versions of the consonant T. The other came from Nathlakums, an indigenous language from British Columbia, using sounds that don't map onto English at all. Babies 6 to 8 months old heard those contrasts and picked up the difference instantly. The same way you'd instantly hear the difference between cat and bat. Then the researchers tested a new group of babies, 10 to 12 months old. Same sounds, same test. And most of them couldn't hear the difference anymore. In just a few months, a distinction that had once been effortless had quietly become invisible. Their brains hadn't gotten worse, they'd specialized. And specializing meant leaving something behind. If you're finding this useful, this channel breaks down one real piece of baby brain science like this every single week. Hit subscribe so the next one finds you. This isn't a flaw, it's the brain being efficient. Researcher Patricia Kuhl, who has spent over 4 decades studying this, calls it neural commitment. Your baby's brain is building dedicated circuitry for the exact sounds it hears every single day. Your voice, your partner's voice, whatever language is filling the room. Every time that circuitry fires for a sound it recognizes, the connection gets faster and stronger. But strengthening one set of connections means weakening the ones that go unused. The brain isn't only building something new, it's actively pruning something else to make room for it. A baby raised hearing only English becomes remarkably fast and accurate at processing English sounds, and in the process loses the effortless ability to tell apart sounds from Hindi or Zulu or Mandarin, because the brain has decided those particular connections aren't worth the energy anymore. It's the same basic principle behind why a language you stop practicing gets harder to speak years later. Except here, it's happening at 10 months old, before your baby has said a single real word. Here's the part that actually matters for you. This window doesn't close because a birthday happens. It closes because of exposure, or the lack of it. Kuhl's own research found that babies who get real, live exposure to a second language during this same period, not a screen, not an app, but an actual person talking, singing, and interacting with them directly, hold on to a meaningfully wider range of that sound sensitivity. Their brains build two sets of dedicated circuitry instead of narrowing down to one. That's an important detail. The research points specifically to live human interaction, not passive media. A video playing in the background doesn't seem to move the needle the same way a real person does. This doesn't mean you need to panic if your household is monolingual. Most people on Earth grow up speaking one language and turn out completely fine. But if a second language is something you've been meaning to bring in, a grandparent's language, something you speak but haven't been using at home, the science says the first year isn't just a nice time to start. It's the most efficient window your baby's brain will ever have for it. What's remarkable is that all of this rewiring, this rapid specialization, is happening while your baby can't sit up on their own, can't crawl, can't say a single word you'd recognize. Long before you see any of the results, their brain is already deciding who they'll be able to hear clearly for the rest of their life, and who they won't. Every day with your baby, their brain is quietly choosing what to keep and what to let go of. Most of it happens without anyone ever noticing. If this changed the way you think about what's going on behind those eyes, subscribe. We break down one real piece of baby brain science like this every week. See you in the next one. If this is the first video of ours you've watched, here's what we actually do here. Behind the baby eyes exists for one reason. Almost everything you'll ever read about babies online is either a product ad wearing a lab coat or a scary headline with no science behind it at all. We do neither. Every single video on this channel is built the same way this one was. We find the actual peer-reviewed research, the real studies, the real researchers, and we walk you through exactly what they found and exactly what it means, without dumbing it down and without making it sound scarier than it is. Your baby's brain is doing something remarkable, genuinely surprising, and scientifically real every single day of their first year, usually while they're doing absolutely nothing you'd notice from the outside. That's the entire premise of this channel. One real discovery explained properly every week.